Markets flat on the first trading day of 2024. Nifty above 21,700, Sensex below 72,200. Nifty Bank little changed. Broader markets continue to outperform.
Right. India records the highest ever FI inflows in 2023. FIs by equities worth 1.7 lakh crore, while DIs by equities worth 1.84 lakh crore.
Bajaj Auto two-wheeler sales rise on robust domestic dispatches. Meanwhile, Maruti Suzuki's annual sales cross milestone of 20 lakh units for the first time ever.
And railways on a fast track. Eyes 12 lakh crore rupees investment over the next 5 years. Railways Minister says or tells NDTV exclusively that 2.4 to 2.6 lakh crore rupees of investment is optimal.
Currency traders turn to riskier exotic bets as RBI keeps the rupee stable. That's an NDTV Profit exclusive.
Good afternoon and welcome. You're watching Market IQ on NDTV Profit. I'm Hersh. Sayta. With me is Smriti, and over the next half an hour, we'll take you all through everything that's happening in Indian equity markets. Let's quickly take it straight to where markets currently are at. You're seeing the Nifty 50 absolutely flat in trade, but nothing to complain about because we ended December on a very, very healthy note. And we started January somewhat in the negative, while we have recovered from that negativity now. You see the Nifty Bank as well, exactly where the Nifty itself is at, absolutely flat, nothing to complain about there either. You're seeing the Nifty Auto also trading with a slight negative bias, probably the only sectoral index in the red, but other than that, we're seeing largely all sectoral indices trading in the green. I want to quickly take note of where Nifty IT is at, because that was trading in the red earlier today. We've seen that stellar recovery coming in over the last few minutes in the Nifty IT index. Let's also pull up the constituents there. And we're seeing a good 0.5% higher on the Nifty IT index. Just 3 losers on the Nifty IT as we speak at the moment. 4 losers there on the Nifty IT as we speak. So that's definitely a call for positivity. You're seeing the likes of a Wipro and a Tech Mahindra in the green. Among the other buzzers, let's also take it to the Nifty 50 contributories. We're seeing the likes of an ITC and Adani Enterprises leading the pack there, while Bharti Airtel and HDFC Bank are the key drags on the Nifty 50. Absolutely flat on the Nifty, but as I did mention, absolutely nothing to complain about at the moment, Smriti.
Right, but that's largely about today. Markets had a stellar year in 2023 also. The gain in the Nifty was second highest in 6 years. Interestingly, the markets saw highest ever FII inflows in 2023 as well. My colleague Anushi is joining us with more on that. Good afternoon, Anushi. Tell us a little bit more about in what sectors did these flows come in, and what's the amount for these flows?
Well, Smriti, quite some interesting data points from NSE with, as you mentioned, FII recording its highest ever FII inflows. Alongside for DII, this was the second highest ever inflows for DII as well, following the successful 2022. Now, breaking down 2023 FII inflows, it did started on a muted note with a negative note in Jan-Feb. If we look at what picked up pace in the middle of the year with December, and then making a strong back again in December, showcasing highest ever inflow in not just India but in all emerging markets as well. Alongside this, if we compare the December month inflows itself, it was the second highest ever following the December 2020 rally which happened. So now if we coming to the sectoral point, as you mentioned, 3 sectors that stood out were the financial services, autos and capital goods, which remained the preferred sectors. But the reasons behind this rally, if you look at with Nifty 50 and Sensex up about 20% in last year and just 6% up in the December month itself, making new record highs. We see the first reason could be the BJP victory in 3 states, affirming their presence in the 2024 elections as well. Then the US, in the global scenario, US Fed signaling cuts rate next year also led to weakening of dollar index, which brought in more inflows for the business. So that was a positive as well. So all these factors cumulatively led to the highest ever FII inflows in India.
Right. Thanks for that, for breaking that down for us, Anushi. But stick with us because we are moving on to stock-specific action. BHEL has been buzzing in trade today. Of course, this is after sources tell NDTV Profit that the company has emerged as the lowest bidder for 19,000 crore rupee contract from NLC India. Anushi, talk to us about this. What kind of an impact will this have on revenue as well as overall on the company?
Right. So now if you come to BHEL, the stock is trading about 4% higher today with the contract for building a thermal power plant in the Odisha. So this contract is about 19,400 crore. If we look at the company's overall order book as on 30th September, that stands at about 1.14 lakh crore. So this represents about 15 to 16% of the current order book itself, showcasing medium-term revenue visibility. Alongside, if we compare to order book to the sales ratio, that is about 5x if we annualize the order book figure. So again, showcasing some strong revenue visibility over there. Do note that the power sector accounts for about 72% of the outstanding order book for the company. And this order is pertaining to build about 3 supercritical units of 800 megawatts for NLC India, with it outbidding L&T.
Right. Thank you, Anushi, for that. Switching focus to the auto sector now, the Nifty auto is down about 0.1% at this juncture. But we're talking about it because the latest December auto sales numbers suggest that the strong momentum in SUV sales has continued, while tractor sales have fallen more than anticipated. My colleague Vinay Khulpe is joining us to add more on the latest December auto sales. Good afternoon, Vinay. What can you tell us at this point? What companies have already come out with their numbers?
Afternoon, Smriti. So a slew of companies have come out with their data. After M&M, Maruti Suzuki has also reported its numbers, and it shows that the domestic sales are down 6%. And this was expected because December is not a very strong month for the auto companies, because customers are not willing to buy in December because it becomes an older model just in 1 month. So that's the reason behind the slowdown in the sales of passenger vehicles. But M&M sales suggest that the strong momentum in SUV sales is continuing. So that is there in the passenger vehicle segment. In the two-wheeler, Bajaj Auto has only come out with the data, and two-wheeler sales have risen 15%, with strong show in the domestic market, and exports are not doing that well because it's just low single digits. In the tractor sales, we have seen that the sales have fallen more than expected. So for Escorts, the sales are down 19%, while for M&M tractors, it is down 18%. So the companies have said that the lower than expected harvesting and delayed sowing has impacted the sentiments on the ground, and it could continue for a few months before it recovers.
Right. Thanks so much for that, Vinay. But, we've been given breaking news now that there has been a tsunami in Japan. In fact, there's been an earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 7.5, which has hit north-central Japan. And the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a tsunami warning along the coastal regions of Ishikawa and Niigata and Toyama. All these 3 prefectures are now part of the warning that the meteorological department has issued. Now, of course, this is basis news agency reports which have started to come through. So we will monitor that big development that's happening, of course, in Asia. But let's quickly move on. JBM Auto has been in focus in today's trading session after being boosted by several tailwinds in the EV sector. Our colleague Himansh is joining us with more information on this particular counter. Himansh, talk to us. Over to you.
Thanks, Hersh. So JBM Auto, the stock's buzzing today with volumes that are 15 times their 30-day averages, and it has gained nearly 14% intraday today to hit its life high as well. Now, what's really playing at this counter is firstly the fact that the price band for this particular stock has been revised from 5 to 20% now, and as of Jan 1st, and on Friday, we saw a lot of automakers that were, surging on account of news reports that Government of India will be planning to switch approximately 8 lakh diesel buses to electric vehicles, and on account of these prospects, you saw the likes of Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, Electra Green Tech, gain big time. And given that now the price lid of sorts, like the gaining lid, has been taken off, and that's really what's been playing at the stock, and it's been running up nearly 20%, 14% up today. In terms of JBM Auto's EV goals, the company aims to deliver 2,000 electric buses in this particular fiscal itself, the remainder being in 3,000 vehicles coming in the next year. The company also sees a robust pipeline of 5,000 to 6,000 electric buses coming in within the next couple of months. And in terms of its contribution to the overall revenue as well, you're seeing the bus division accelerate its contribution to nearly 35% now, which was relatively lower, just 4 or 5 quarters back. So that's what's been, leading up to the excitement.
All right. Thank you, Himansh, for that. Now, shifting focus to the currency market. The currency traders in India's foreign exchange market are choosing exotic option trades in the dollar-rupee pair amid the Reserve Bank of India's aggressive intervention to keep the rupee stable. We have Mimamsa joining us. Mimamsa, how will this have an effect on the rupee?
Hi, yeah. The RBI has been intervening quite aggressively in the forex market for the last 4 months, which has kept the rupee quite stable in a range of 83.25 to 83.40, which is just a 15 paise range. So this has now killed all the trading opportunities for traders. So they are now moving to exotic options trade on USD INR. So if you look at the data on the National Stock Exchange, the open interest on most active options which expired on Friday, that is December 29, the strike price for those options was 83.25, and the open interest was 6.23 lakh contracts on Friday. So if I were to explain this, 83.25 is the level that traders were not expecting the rupee to breach, as in the rupee will not fall beyond 83.25. On Friday, the rupee closed at 83.21. So now this shift in trading strategy is because the RBI has been quite aggressive in the forex market, and they've been trying to keep the rupee stable through interventions from all the platforms, spot, futures, and forwards market. But what now market participants believe is that if the rupee is too stable for a prolonged period of time, this buildup of risk in the exotic options market is going to have an impact in the sense that if crude oil prices, let's say, go near or above $100 per barrel, then the rupee is going to come under pressure, and the traders are going to have to suffer hefty losses. Because crude oil prices is a conversation right now due to geopolitical tensions and attacks in Red Sea. So crude oil prices will be a key factor to watch out for. But market participants also expect that that RBI will continue to mop up dollar inflows, because they would want to keep the headline FX reserves at a decent number, and optically would want to have a decent FX reserves number in their coffers. As experts have said, that the FX reserves are the first line of defense in any kind of external shocks. So market participants are feeling that this is one of the motives, although RBI has repeatedly said that their objective for intervention is just to smoothen out the volatility in the dollar-rupee exchange pair.
Right, thanks so much for that comprehensive understanding of what's happening in the forex market, Mimamsa. Thank you so much. But it's time to slip into a short break. Before that, quickly would like to flag off Japan's bullet train services seem to have been suspended. Of course, there is also a statement coming in from the Japan Nuclear Authority suggesting that they are also trying to figure out whether utilities have been affected or not. Nuclear utilities, of course, that's going to hold the key as well. But a 7.5 magnitude earthquake hitting Japan, tsunami very likely, right? But that's where we're at. Of course, we're tracking that story extremely closely. And what impact will that have on our markets, which are currently open? At the moment, really nothing. You're seeing the Nifty 50, which is largely flat as we speak. We also have with us on the phone GP Sharma of SkyMed, who will help us understand what's happening or what's the latest on everything that's happening in Japan. Sir, talk to us. What does this mean? How likely is a tsunami expected to happen? Of course, what we're understanding at the moment is the eastern part of Japan is mainly affected. At least that's what it's seeming like at the moment. Okay, it seems we have a patchy line there. We'll wait for that line to quickly patch up. But let's, in the meantime, look at our Indian markets quickly at some of the stocks which are buzzing in trade today. You have the likes of a BHEL as well as an HFCL, which are buzzing on the back of order wins. Right, and I have been told that the phone line has been connected. Right, welcome to the show, Mr. Sharma. Talk to us about what's your initial sense of what's happening in Japan. What we understand at the moment is eastern part of Japan, there is some amount of risk, but what's your sense?
You see, Japan has been struck with a strong earthquake. 7.4 is fairly high on Richter scale. Initial news was 7.6. Obviously, it's a concern because such a major earthquake and the proximity of the sea, it has the potential to have a tsunami also. As we saw earlier also, Japan is very prone to these things. Even in 2023, we had a series of earthquakes. And this one particularly, you see, the Noto Peninsula is, as such, is very, very vulnerable to this. And then we have to be very, very watchful. Not that every earthquake of this strength even can generate a tsunami, but then being a proximity of the sea to the Noto Peninsula and Ishikawa, which has been a region which has been struck the most, we have to have exercise caution and wait. And tsunami can be there. It will take, because traveling time is quite a bit, and therefore we have to be cautious at least for the next few hours or so. In case tsunami is there, then the waves, obviously, in addition to the normal wave heights, you add about another 4 meter, 5 meter, which becomes having a damaging potential.
Mr.
Sometimes
Sharma,
even catastrophic potential. Yeah.
Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for joining in and giving us some perspective here. Obviously, this is something that we've experienced in the past with Japan, and we've seen a major tsunami that followed an earthquake. We're talking about the eastern prefectures on the coastline of Japan that could be affected because of the Sea of Japan, right? But what other regions, in your experience, have been impacted in the past? And with regard to this particular incident, are there other countries, other coastlines that could be vulnerable?
Oh, yes. You see, the Indian region, our country also, do you remember 2004, I think, December, when the tsunami was there, which struck our southern parts because the major earthquake that was there deep in the sea, but then tsunami traveled all along coast of Tamil Nadu, and then even Andaman Nicobar Island, they were ravaged, rather. So they have the potential. Whichever countries they have the coastline, obviously they are vulnerable for tsunami because earthquake can occur anywhere, either over land also, and some areas like this Japan region is very, very vulnerable. Like we have our Himalayas and the northern parts, that is the very northeast India, including Manipur, Mizoram, those Meghalaya, Assam. These are the very vulnerable region, which are definitely can experience a strong earthquake. Okay, these different zones are there, and zone 1, zone 2, zone 1 to zone 5 or so, depending upon the severity. But there are a number of countries all around the globe which are vulnerable to strong earthquakes.
Mr. Sharma,
So
just
Japan,
trying to understand also with regard to the Japanese situation right now, what we're understanding is that evacuations have already been undertaken or are underway. But what is the normal time frame in which a tsunami could potentially occur? What is that period where we need to be most careful about?
Looking at the center of this particular thing, we got to be watchful for at least about 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. Okay, the travel time of the waves obviously is a little more than what we have normally, and therefore for the next about 6 to 8 hours you have to be watchful. And in case it subsides, in case the tsunami doesn't travel, obviously the warning can be withdrawn. But the 6 hours remains very, very, very crucial for this. We have to be watchful for this. Yes.
Right. And Sir Hersh joining in again. Sir, I think suggested, and if you can quickly confirm to us, typically with a 7.5, on the richer scale, you suggested around a 5-meter high wave, which could be expected. You also have the likes of a Tokyo on the eastern edge of Japan. Do you therefore believe that the risk could be substantial, and how high could actually, or how high typically are the waves in this kind of a situation, or in this kind of a...
Yes, as I mentioned also earlier, you see, Japan, the landmass is such oriented, it is more of a north-south, okay? The width is small, the length is quite large. So therefore, the width-wise, where the eastern coasts of Japan, Ishikawa and adjoining those regions, they become very, very vulnerable to that. Because width is not much, okay? You remember the tsunami, it had traveled thousands of kilometers also from the sea, almost hundreds of kilometers. So it has the potential to even reach entire width of whatever Japan we have in case the tsunami is there. Tsunami, as you said, 15 feet is a fairly high wave. And this is in addition to the astronomical wave which is there, which the high tide or low tide waves are there in the sea. In addition to that, this 15 feet high, 15 to 20 feet high or so, obviously they are having the catastrophic potential. But as I said, everything, earthquake is not, does not cause a tsunami. But then you see, it is after all, what is an earthquake is it displaces a large amount of water, volume of water over the sea because of the movements of the plates. And that is what takes the shape of tsunami. Okay, and that is what we have to be watchful. As I said, it can be 15 feet also. It could be a little bigger than that also. And when added to the astronomical tide, it could be a little higher, which will be causing in case it strikes the coast.
Right.
Obviously, it carries a lot of devastating potential. Yes.
Correct. So that's, of course, the big breaking for you that's happening. We'll, of course, keep track of all that's happening in Japan and keep you posted of that. But for now, we'll let you go on that note, Mr. Sharma. Thank you for all of that perspective. It's time for a short break on NDTV Profit. We'll come back with Market IQ with some of the stocks which are buzzing in trade today.
Welcome back. You're watching Market IQ on NDTV Profit. Let's get back to the markets. The focus right now is Vodafone Idea. The stock is up about 8.5% currently and has been gaining in the past two sessions. It's close to about 30% in the last two sessions. If you look at the reasons why this is happening, there's no fundamental announcement from the company as such. So that's out of the question. Now, this seems to be like a hope rally. Now, this hope is banking on an investor coming in and putting in money into Vodafone Idea. So that's one. The second is that the government has time and again said that it will not let a duopoly happen within the telecom sector. So it seems like the investors or the market has taken positive cues from these things, and it feels that the government is not going to let Vodafone Idea die. Third is the tax refund that may come along. The company has said it in the last earnings call. And the fourth one is the benefit of the potential tariff hike. Now, the telecom sector is expecting a tariff hike in 2024. And so that may kind of have a potentially actually pretty big impact on the company, and so that's where the investors have taken positive cues, and the stock is on an uptrend. But my colleague Tamanna spoke to the telecom minister Ashwini Vaishnaw about the future of Vodafone Idea and what will happen to the company once the AGM moratorium ends. Listen into what he has to say.
इतना क्लियर है कि आज टेलीकॉम सेक्टर में जो अनसर्टेनिटीज़ थी, एजीआर की डेफिनेशन क्या है, स्पेक्ट्रम के यूसेज में क्या होना चाहिए, करीब 99% अनसर्टेनिटीज़ ख़त्म हो चुकी है. आज इन्वेस्टर्स टेलीकॉम सेक्टर की तरफ एक नए नज़रिए से देख रहे हैं. इस टेलीकॉम एक्ट के बाद में जो रही सही अनसर्टेनिटीज़ थी वो भी ख़त्म हो गई है.
Sir, but to come back to the point of Vodafone Idea.
देखो वो उनके शेयर उनके मैनेजमेंट से पूछो.
Let me ask
it's a listed company. I don't want to comment on it.
So just the simple point, just if I may, the government has stepped in and saved this company.
We have done whatever is supposed to be done. I don't want to comment on companies which are listed. सबके शेयर मार्केट के में prices होते हैं. I don't want to comment on any such. Whether it's a railway company or telecom company or electronics company, anything. I just don't want to comment on any listed company.
Okay. No, I want to understand because there are concerns about a duopoly forming in the country.
अब नहीं concerns.
Okay.
अभी तो telecom sector is looking like a fresh investment cycle has already started in telecom sector.
Right, that was of course Tamanna speaking with the telecom minister. But with that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Market IQ. From Smriti, myself, everyone who puts the show together, thanks so much for watching. Of course, we have one eye on what's happening in Japan, and we'll keep you posted on that one. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit.